Welcome back to BeerFormers, episode 62.
Nice.
Yeah, 62. And we're going to talk about, oh my gosh, this might be a tough one to get through tonight. We'll see. Just because this character we're going to talk about and this toy we're going to talk about is very special to me and my two children. Because they're the ones who request we talk about it tonight. And we also went to a
Shout out to Raph and Marlo.
Yeah, and we went to a really cool place on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, belated to all the mothers out there. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about our beer here in a little bit. So, all right, so we've only done this era of Transformers one other time. There's also a request, so again, we'll mention it here again. We'll mention it at the end. If you have a request for us to do a toy or whatever, let us know. We'll be happy to roll it in here. But so this is our second foray into the Beast era. All right, so 1995. Super brief history here. Hasbro turned over Transformers, which was kind of basically dead. They had Generation 2, didn't do as well as they thought.
Right, I remember.
Okay, and they said, well, let's give it to Kenner. They just bought Kenner. Kenner, famous mostly for probably doing the Star Wars toys. We'll give it to Kenner, who we just acquired. We'll see what they can do with it. And they did a radical, a change on it. Instead of, robots that turn into cars and jets, stuff like that, these were going to be robots that can turn into realistic, heavy air quotes here, looking animals.
So do you know anything about what inspired that change?
I really don't. I'm sure it was, they were probably brainstorming, so let's try. This hasn't been done yet. There have been lots of Transformers who turned into animals, but they were always robotic animals, right?
Okay, and this started in the United States as opposed to Japan, and then coming over here with, everything else pretty much did.
So for the first year or so of Beast Wars, they were put out by Kenner, and then eventually Hasbro finally just absorbed them completely, and then, Hasbro put out Beast Wars too.
It's interesting. Do you have Kenner Transformers?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first couple of years of Beast Wars were all made by Kenner,
That's
but
wild.
Kenner was owned by Hasbro, so really Hasbro made them. They just had these. They actually had the Kenner logo on them.
How did I not know this?
I'll make sure I put a picture of that on the screen as a package that shows it says Kenner on there and stuff. So the idea was the Transformers were brought into the future, and it was kind of vague at that point, right? And it was going to be a continuation. The original was going to be Optimus Prime and Megatron, although they gave Optimus Prime kind of a little wink name. They made Optimus Primal.
Yeah, I like that.
But originally, as conceived by the toys, it was supposed to be Optimus Prime and Megatron just continuing their battle in these new forms instead of turning into trucks and tanks.
Spark.
Well, the spark was something that the Beast Wars added, but that wasn't even a concept yet at this point either.
Okay.
So, same soul, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the original Megatron, the original Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so flash forward just a little bit. They were working on trying to bring this into animation too, and they did a kind of a radical thing here too. They decided to go full computer graphics animation.
I remember when it hit television.
And they hired a company from Canada, I believe, called Mainframe, to do it, and they had done a couple other cartoons before that called Reboot, which was kind of like a fantasy, it took place in the computer world thing, a la Tron, but with more goofy, cartoony type characters. And they had another one called War Planets. War Planets was also a Hasbro kind of property. I don't know much about that except that it existed. It had toys that I guess you had planets and there were people fighting and stuff like that.
Yes, in a war.
And so when they turned it over to Mainframe to do the cartoon, I don't know 100% how this happened either. Maybe they weren't talking to each other very well, or Mainframe had said, yeah, whatever, we're just going to do our own thing. But they radically changed everybody. Optimus Primal now is a new character, related distantly somehow to Optimus Prime. Megatron is as a new character who just took that as his namesake to honor the previous guy. Gone were Autobots and Decepticons. Now are Maximals, the good guys.
Which is great.
Predacons.
Yeah.
So what they did was they started taking legacy names. So Predacon. We've talked about that when we did the Predacon combiner there. So that the concept of the Predacons being like a subgroup of Decepticons now was the name for all the bad guys. So every bad guy in the show was a Predacon. And Maximal is something totally new. Why they didn't pick something that was similar to the Autobots and do something like that, I don't know. But they did it. They got the Maximals.
Because it sounds like Animal and Maximal.
And so the cartoon rolls out.
It just sounds cool.
And we're getting to our toy here. I promise. I said this is gonna be super brief, and I probably already went too long anyway. But when the cartoon comes out, they start to introduce all the characters at the beginning, like you always do with a new cartoon, right? And they introduce a character who was on the bad guy side. These two ships crash land onto some mysterious planet with two moons and all this other weird stuff going on. And Megatron, they scan for forms. the reason they justified the beast forms in the cartoon was that the planet had so much like raw energy on the rate, it was like too much of a good thing. So having like fleshy skins when they were in beast forms would shield them from that radiation.
Oh, so okay, they put some logic behind
so they scan for whatever's nearby. The Predacons happen to just so happen to scan like fossils and become dinosaurs and or arthropods, insects, spiders, you name it, right? So all the bad guys are kind of creepy crawly kind of things. The Maximals that crash landed nearby, they scanned and they were getting like mammals and birds and things like that, right? So that was kind of like how it was set up. But right off the bat, they introduced a character, we're going to get right to it now, who goes on to become probably one of the most beloved characters of this era, and that is Dinobot. Okay? Named obviously after the Dinobots, the group of the Autobots who were led by Grimlock, Slag, Slug,
Why
Snarl.
is he pink?
Well, he's like, it's not really, it's kind of like a mauve, I guess. You know? I don't know.
See that chosen.
This is not how he was. This was not the color he had actually in the cartoon. He's more of a brown in the cartoon and stuff like that, right?
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. So Dinobot was a Predacon. He was on Megatron's crew when they crash land, and he very quickly decides Megatron didn't know what he was doing. He didn't have any honor. He's a Predacon. He had this sense of honor and how things should be, and he quickly turns on Megatron and goes ultimately to join with the Maximals, and he becomes a Maximal. Changes his transformation code and stuff like that, so he becomes officially a Maximal. So there's all this tete-a-tete and stuff like that between him and Megatron over the course of the show, where Megatron's like, you're a traitor and all that kind of stuff, right? And so Dinobot goes on to
was Dinobot like Starscream? Like, was he like trying to
only
take over?
only in that first episode? Yeah,
okay.
he thought Megatron screwed up when they crashed on this planet. Said, I should be ruler because I know what I'm doing better than you, and clearly that doesn't take place. He kind of gets trashed and goes off and does the same thing to the Maximals. I should be your leader. I'm stronger than all y'all, and has a little fight with Optimus Primal, and Optimus Primal ends up winning, but also by winning, shows him mercy and. So he has a sense of honor, like, okay, you've beaten me.
Wow, this is really intense for
the cartoon. The cartoon had so much going on.
There's some layers there.
There's so many. If you haven't seen Beast Wars, please stop this video. It's 3 seasons. The second and third season. Watch them all tonight. Yeah, the second and third season are short. The first season's like 26 episodes. The second and third are both 13 episodes.
Call off work. Take a week off.
So this is on like 97, 98, 99, right? And I was glued to the TV every Saturday morning when a new episode came on, And then I'm an adult. We're married at that point, But I was like, this is awesome. This is a great cartoon, And so in the course of the show, Dinobot goes through all kinds of changes, and both emotional and physical. He gets in the he ultimately kind of gets a new form. We won't go into that too much. Because the robots throughout there
still a dinosaur.
Yeah, but that's a whole other episode there like that. But his most best way to kind of sum up his characterization is that he's like he's a warrior. He wants to fight all the time, right? But he's also got the sense of honor, like I said, and he's always clashing with the wise cracker on the show, who was Rat Trap.
Yeah.
Okay, they always butted heads, but you always got a sense that deep down they were probably buddies, right? And so it all culminates. Now this is a huge spoiler here. So again, if you haven't watched Beast Wars,
stop
this video. Go watch the whole thing. But long story short, they find out through the course of all the things that happened to them that they did not crash land on a Centennial planet. It was ancient Earth, like prehistoric Earth, right?
And was there like the Statue of Liberty?
No, the ancient Earth, honey.
Okay.
Ancient Earth.
I thought maybe this was
not Planet of the Apes. And so. And a lot of stuff revolves around this thing called the Golden Disc. They had it was basically the
wait a second.
It was the thing from Voyager.
Okay,
okay.
I got.
And then they find another Golden Disc that has them do some aliens who are tinkering with the planet, and they kind of have run-ins with these aliens. So too. It all culminates though. They find out that because they're on ancient Earth, the Autobots in the Ark, along with the Decepticons, have already crash landed there. And they come onto Earth in that time between when the Autobots crash land like 4 million years ago and modern times. So they're kind of in that 4 million time window between then and modern 1984, I guess, right? And so there's all sorts of battles about trying to make sure nobody ruins the timeline,
right.
and they find out that they make friends and make contact with these proto-humans cavemen basically living in a valley. And Megatron finally gets the idea that, with the golden disc, he finally figures out what kind of secrets it holds. It has information about the future. He gets the idea, if I go in there and I wipe out these people before they spread out to the world and become modern humans, they won't be able to help the Autobots. And the Decepticons will win the war.
He's trying to get rid of Spike.
And so, and everyone else too. So Dinobot catches wind of this, and he calls for help, etc., but he's the only one who can do anything about it. And I'm about to get choked up here because he fights everybody off all by himself, and they show up at the last minute, and he dies. Look at you getting all sad. So it's like a very emotional scene. He tells his friends, tell my story and tell it true, and it tears you up when you think about it. Great, awesome writing.
I can't believe that was a children's cartoon.
It was. And so my kids who I showed them Beast Wars also will attest. Oh my God, all I have to say to get my daughter Marla to cry, be like, tell my tale, tell it true. The good stories and the bad, the rest is silence. She's like, stop, So that
does she have a Dinobot tattoo?
She does have. She has Dinobot's sword, which we're going to see here, and all that other stuff. So so Dinobot. Oh my gosh, probably the most significant and favorite character on this whole series. So with that all said, there's so much more about Dinobot. So third time, watch Beast Wars. All right. So after he dies, and his spark goes on to join the Matrix and stuff like that, they ultimately kind of clone an evil version of him. That's why he gets a different form.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about that, right? So you get a Dinobot too.
Yeah.
But this was his original toy. This is the best they ever had. He never lost this form throughout his run on the show. And as you can see, the color is a little bit, like you said, kind of a mauve or pink color there. And he's got some issues. He's got all this weird kibble on the bottom, is what they call this, whenever parts of the robot are shown. So it's not a perfect disguise. But one of the things that Beast Wars did really well is that all the weapons are now incorporated.
So you can't lose them.
Most Transformers in the modern era, post Beast Wars, usually their weapons go on them somewhere so they can be stored, right? So let's get this in your hands so you can see how to transform. So I'm going to walk you through it real quick.
Turning into a robot?
Yeah, so pull off the tail first. It's like one big piece. Just kind of wiggle it off, yep. Just right here, at that joint right there. Nope. Grab the next joint in and pull it.
There we go.
Now I'm going to show you this here because this opens up. So this is his signature weapon in the show. He had this tail which split open. They never showed it do this in the show, but he had this weird little spinny sword thing. Okay, which he mostly used it to whack or use it to deflect bullets or whatever that, right? And the bone, I guess, effectively inside of that hidden there was his sword. Okay. And on the show, the sword had these little spinny parts, and he could cut through stuff, even though it didn't really have an edge. But whatever, he just would fight with it. So he had these two weapons. So he's got his sword and his spinny shield ram, blade thing, whatever like that. So
that's what you mean by it was built into them.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm gonna.
And I should kind of unpeg the legs. The legs of these things here. Be careful because this plastic area is known for having the gold plastic syndrome sometimes. So just kind of gently pull them off the pegs.
Off the pegs?
Yeah, and you want to flip that back. Flip that thing that held the tail back just to get out of the way. It just kind of folds it back up on the back of them there. And then you'll spin the legs around.
All right, like this?
Yep.
Did I do that right? Mm-hmm. Oh, this one feels tight. There we go.
Yeah, then spin around there at the knee, just like that.
All right.
And then if you unfold his feet, there's another peg there that kind of gives him some extra support on the backside.
Okay, like that.
Yep. So those are two legs. Now the dinosaur, he's a velociraptor, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. He's supposed to be a velociraptor. So his velociraptor legs are the robot legs, and his velociraptor arms just kind of get folded back ultimately and hidden behind him. Why they're webbed, I don't know.
Okay, so like this.
Cool. So there's the whole thing's going to pivot and spin around. Yeah, you got it, exactly. This one's correct now. This one you got to spin around that same way. Yep, okay. And those you'll just kind of fold up and hide in the back. Let's kind of do a little bit above so the above camera can kind of see what you're doing here a little bit too. Yep. And then you just kind of fold that back and kind of make sure it kind of pegs back like that too. Yep.
All right. And then these are his arms.
Now flip him around so you can see the front. You can get his legs first. So that'll work. Yep.
Oh, there's his head.
Yep. So
there's his head.
The velociraptor thing becomes the chest.
Oh.
So there's a little panel in the back that you'll have to flip up maybe, or you did it anyway just by doing that. Yep,
there we go.
Okay.
All right, and
he's got to figure out how to get his arms in the proper position, and you basically got him.
Okay. This is his front. I got the arms backwards because that's his elbow.
Good job. Way to use your context clues. You're figuring it out. Only took 61 episodes.
Only, yeah. Well, I'm not there yet, so.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not right.
There we
go.
Yeah,
there we go. Okay. Oh my gosh.
So he because his hands are kind of wonky like this on the cartoon, it's kind of shown as having like 2 thumbs and whatever. So he's got this little hand that opens up.
Yeah.
And that peg is where you put the weapons. So I'll let you put the weapons in if you want to also.
Okay.
If you want to.
I'm gonna try. So one in each hand.
Yeah. So like this peg is going to go in that hole, and that peg is going to go in the hole, and you can do it whatever.
Like this.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then you can still have it in his hand and still press the button to make it spin.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, I see. Like this?
Yeah.
All right, I did it.
You did it. Let's hold him up so everybody can see. Yep, there he is. The main camera there.
I want to
press the button.
I do. Woo! That's cool.
Now I'm going to show the above camera here. His head on this toy was something that had some couple things going on that I want to mention. First off, it doesn't look like the animation model. Okay? He's got like a faceplate, almost like Optimus Prime. Dinobot had like a mouthful of teeth and had an articulated lips and all stuff like that. And you'll notice there's these 2 little weird things on the other side of his head, little holes there, right?
What are those?
Well, the first year of the Beast Wars toys, they thought it would be a cool gimmick if they gave all the larger size toys. There were like 3 size classes. There was like, I can't remember what they were called now, but it was like small, regular like this. I think they actually was called Deluxe. Then they had Voyager, and then they had like Leader, or so, I can't remember what the exact terms were. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen. But there were like 4 size classes, right? And so for this size class and bigger, they had this idea that they would give them all mutant heads. Okay. And so because the basic rest of his head was very similar to how Dinobot's was in the show, but the mutant head thing on this guy was these 2 little panels that would flip up and cover his head like a helmet. And I quickly got rid of mine because they never used that in the show. There were some people like Waspinator where like his head in the cartoon was the quote-unquote mutant head.
Yeah.
And then other people, they would use the regular robot head like this. The animators, I guess, didn't care for it very much either, right? So I want to show you this other one here I got real quick, just so you can see what that would look like. Because I got rid of the one from original Dinobot. This is a recolor they put out when Beast Wars made the jump to Fox Kids in the morning. They put out a whole list, a bunch of them again, in just different colors. And so I kept the mutant head on this one. So this.
I see.
But I made this a new character.
Oh, why did you do that?
To justify having the same figure on the shelf, right? So I made this one into a female Dinobot relative.
So much in your head canon, it's not even funny.
So head canon, this is Dinonica. I made it a female, and I made her head the mutant head. So I'll hold that up just so the upper camera can see it. Then I glued it shut so it can't be revealed on this one. So so the mutant head on this one now is the head for that one.
Okay.
So all those toys for the first year had the mutant heads, and then after that they just abandoned that concept altogether. No one had that anymore. So that is Dinobot, and rest in peace, Dinobot.
When he died, did they bury him or did they recycle him?
They cremated him basically.
Oh.
Yeah, they had him on like a special funeral pyre, and his spark gets released and floats off into space, and they all salute, and
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and him and Rat Trap have a final moment,
Oh no!
Where it's like Rat Trap had been accusing him of being a traitor too, kind of a couple episodes before that, and Rat Trap's like, at least I know where you stand, and Dinobot goes, preferably upwind of you, So like he gets one last dig in, and you see Rat Trap kind of look initially like mad, but then he smiles because, So this show is deep. Very, very, very deep. There's so much going on. There's stuff for kids and for the adults who are watching it.
How many seasons was it on?
3 seasons altogether. Like I said, the first season was a little bit longer, about 26 episodes, and the third season were 13 episodes each.
But then they became Beast Machines, right?
Yeah, that was the sequel series that had the same characters. They make their way, they get back to Cybertron ultimately and find out
Not Dinobot.
Not Dinobot, no. That's like not Sally joke. That's dark.
Sorry. Trying to lighten it up.
So Dinobot again, great character, well written, well characterized. Again, because the show was CG at the time, they couldn't put like everybody. I mean, the Beast Wars toy line had dozens and dozens of figures, but the show had to be tight. They only had like, about 4 or 5 guys on either side at any one time. If they had to introduce a new character, they usually meant someone had to go away.
Because the technology just wasn't there.
It just wasn't there to have all that kind of stuff. So that forced them into doing like, characterization, more so than you might get from a children's cartoon about a toy line, sometimes it was episodic, but many times it was very serialized too. Like one episode would kind of lead into another. It was telling an overall story.
Which is very different than the original cartoon series.
Right, the original cartoon was very just episodic.
You ever met any of the artists or writers from Beast Wars at any of the conventions you've gone to?
I usually... I'll answer just by saying yes to begin with, right? But usually when I go to the conventions, I'm not an autograph hunter for the most part, So if I see them, I might wave or something like that. But there was one time, Marlo, our oldest, who's very much into Dinobot, got tattoos and stuff of him. We went to a BotCon in Dallas, and the guy who voiced Optimus Primal, Gary Chalk, is the actor's name, was one of the people there. And so we stood in line for her to meet him, and I got a picture. If I can dig it up, I will put it on the screen.
That would be
my
awesome.
daughter and I with Gary Chalk.
Yeah.
And then Marlo loves this story, and our youngest, Raph, likes this story too, even though Raph wasn't there. I was just sitting outside the convention center, just having a rest or whatever, and Marlo was sitting on my lap, and Gary Chalk walks by and looks down and goes, "Oh, she's cute,"
I love that.
And Gary Chalk just recently had a battle with cancer, and he seems to be doing well and surviving it. So good job for Gary Chalk.
Godspeed to you, Gary Chalk.
Now, last thing I'll say about
my kid was cute. You're the best.
Last thing I'll say about Dinobot is because he's been such a legacy character in modern times, he's gotten some redos, like the Fox Kids versions redos and stuff like that. But in the more recent years, they've kind of they've done like this. The Generations line of Transformers toys has been like all homages. Every figure they put out is some sort of like reimagining of a classic character, and this one has got. There's also been a Masterpiece. Masterpiece is a line of Transformers from Takara in Japan. There's been a few brought over to America, but pretty much they're all sold in Japan. I'll put this on the screen too. But they made a figure of Dinobot that is like super cartoon accurate. Even when he transforms, his dinosaur mode looks a lot.
Is that on
like
your list to get?
Maybe someday. But the best one I've gotten so far is the one that came out in the Kingdom line. Kingdom was the toy line that came out a few years ago. It was the part of the War for Cybertron trilogy. It was like Siege, Earthrise, and then Kingdom, which brought in the Beast characters to blending them with the regular Autobots and Decepticons too. I won't go into that story, but you can watch that on Netflix. But the toy that came out for that is pretty cartoon accurate. So this is the Kingdom Dinobot. So this looks a lot.
I like it.
This looks a lot like his character on the show. The head especially is spot on, and his chest is a little more like it is supposed to be, and his legs. So if you.
Ooh, yeah, no, I like that. There's eyes.
Yeah, on this one here, just the head just folds down.
Yeah.
But on the cartoon, they kind of made it kind of morph and slide off to the side and blend in. But he's still got the double thumbs and the claws.
Can you spin that?
No, this one it does spin a little bit, but not with the button like that. And you see his sword and stuff.
Sword's better.
So I like this one. Maybe I'll get the Masterpiece someday. But Masterpiece ones are kind of expensive, and not that that's ever been a barrier to me for the most part. But I'm pretty happy with this one. I know Marlo has this one too. She also has one where they put out basically this toy in these colors with that head too. So as they called it like classic mode, classic version.
Would you say Dinobot's one in your top 5?
Oh my gosh,
Transformers characters.
He's pretty modern, obviously, as far as Transformers go. I guess 95 is pretty old nowadays, but if you have a 95 car, it's considered a classic. I know. But he's gone on to become one of these guys who are like he's up there with Optimus and Megatron as far as recognizability, in my opinion. Especially amongst the fandom and stuff.
It's a great story.
Yeah, this toy was also put out in like a black and white color scheme. And that was supposed to be Grimlock. So Grimlock actually got a Beast Wars.
Interesting.
So they started...
We've met Grimlock
when they first came out, it was like, nebulous about whether these people were related to the original Transformers or not, but they slowly started adding characters like that in. So you got a Grimlock, done in it was the exact same toy, just a different color. So very, very, very cool. So that is all I'm going to say about Dinobot at this point, because I want you to watch it and see it for yourself, and because it's worth it. If you like Transformers at all, that's probably why you're watching the show, and you haven't seen this for some reason. Again, what are you doing? go watch Beast Wars. I'm not sure where it's available, where you can stream it at, but you can probably find it pretty easy.
It sounds like Dinobot is one of a kind, and that's a perfect segue into talking about the brewery we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
This place is something special, and it's more than even just beer. It's a whole vibe. And the place I'm talking about is Civil Life.
Civil Life.
In St. Louis.
I'll get the beer.
You grab the beer, and they've got an amazing website. I don't even know how to explain this place. I'm just going to talk a little bit about them, and we can kind of talk about our experience. This is a place we're going to be going back to all the time. So Civil Life it was founded in 2011. Okay, it's just in the middle of South St. Louis. It was created by Jay Kaffner, Dylan Mosley, and Mike Bianco. They wanted to create a brew pub, like a traditional brew, like a traditional pub in England, and that's exactly the vibe that it has. I think that they say Dylan and Mike are still brewing. They're still the master brewers.
Cool.
They put out 35 to 40 beers a year. Let me just read a little bit from their website that explain where they come from. It says, how do I tell you that pubs are worth saving? That having community spaces to spend time with friends is truly important in our increasingly disconnected world. That sitting back and relaxing over a pint or a glass of wine and having food with friends is vital to the foundations of camaraderie. Pubs are the great equalizer and one of the few places that can still bring together all walks of life. That's what they try to do there. This screed is signed by Jake, Dylan, Mike, all of the people that work there, plus 3 giraffes and 4 dinosaurs. And to explain that, they have artwork. They have dinosaurs and giant giraffes decorating the place.
They call it Giraffic Park?
Yes.
I think we got a picture of that. We'll put that up there, yeah. That's really cool. So tell you a little bit about the beers. It's mostly English style beers. They've got a couple of IPAs. We're doing a Czech beer, but when you go in, they have the beers listed in order from like your lightest to your darkest, so you can experience the richness and the flavor profile order that you should. Along with the alcohol percentage and all that kind of stuff.
And they're also known for their cask beer. In fact, they have what's called the Cask Marquis Award. Okay, and it says at Civil Life, we're going to explain to you a little about what is cask beer. This is also on their website. It says, cask beer isn't just something we serve, it's part of who we are. Every pint of our hand-pumped cask ale is drawn directly from the cask in the time-honored way, offering gentle, natural carbonation and layers of flavor that unfold sip after sip. Served at the perfect cellar temperature, their cask beers invite you to slow down, savor, and experience beer as it was meant to be enjoyed, balanced, and alive in the glass. And so they say they're honored to carry the Cask Mark Award. It's a mark of excellence given only to those who uphold the highest standards of cask ale.
Cool.
And so again, you can always see what beers are available on tap. While you're there, you can also, they have non-alcoholic beverages. They have a huge wine cellar. Mm-hmm. Their sodas are Excel, so they're
which we've done on BeerFormers.
They have top of the line quality sodas, and they have really fun food.
They had a dart room and games you could
let me tell you a little bit about that.
The ring on the string game.
If you go to their website, it takes you on just a full tour of every space in there, and every space has historic significance.
Okay.
They say all of their woodwork is done by a guy named Jim, who says, "Come for the woodwork, stay for the beer." They have in their main bar room. They have pictures behind the bar that showcase structures that aren't in St. Louis anymore. They have a rare 1860s 10-foot wide print of the riverfront. Okay. So that's just in the main bar when you come in. Then there's the games area, like Dave was talking about.
Area.
It's mostly set up for darts and Ring the Bull. Both are games that originated in
That's what that game's
English
called?
pubs.
I've never heard the name of the game. I always called it the Ring of the String game.
They have a beer garden outside.
Yeah.
And that's where we sat. And so it's beautiful. I mean, everything's shaded, comfortable. That's where the Jurassic
Park was.
Then you go up to the second floor, and it becomes kind of like a library. Everything's nestly, and there's booths that are closed in, and there's books and games, or you can also just sit on a rail and look down over the main bar.
And there's also the brewing area too back there.
Yes,
you can see the tanks and all that kind of stuff.
They fill growlers, but you can also bring home beer in cans. They sell kegs.
Oh,
they sure do. Yeah, all these questions are answered on their website. You can go to their website to find their hours.
I would say their most famous beer is their brown.
Yes.
The Civil Life.
So they don't distribute widely, but if you've seen Civil Life, you might have seen it in their brown ale. That's what we've been drinking for years.
Yeah.
We like to pick that up at a local grocery
We've had
store.
lots of their beers over time.
Yeah.
We just never have gone to visit the location until here recently. So
that was
a shame on us.
We were totally missing out. But it's nestled in like the strangest area. It's a neighborhood, but it's also an industrial area. Like on one side there's warehouses, and the other side there's just people's
I'm not sure
homes.
what the name of the neighborhood is, but it's kind of, if you know St. Louis, it's not too terribly far from the Bevo Mill neighborhood and the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, but it's a little farther west of those places, But it's definitely south side of the city.
It's on Holt Avenue.
It's south of like Tower Grove Park, so it's it's in that kind of neck of the woods. But yeah, definitely go and check it out.
So the day that we went, it was on Mother's Day, and so Dave and I we both got our first beer was a cask. We did their cask strengths, right? So let's look at. I think I'm going to pull up their menu right now. Yeah. So I did the cask strong stout, and Dave did the cask English football. Now they also you can get a 10-ounce pour or a 16-ounce pour. So they don't do flights, but if you would rather get a smaller pour so you try a lot more of different things in one visit, you can do that. And so they also have a nitro strong stout.
I had that one too.
So then you had, let's see, I had the dry hop red.
I had 3. So
and
I had the English something.
Northern English brown?
Yes. I think that was it. Yep.
So, and did you have the English football beer too?
I don't think I had that one.
They have a British, no, maybe you had the bitter. They have a great English bitter. I mean, it's... but they also they have a Circle 7 American wheat. So that American style beer, they had a Kolsch. So there's your German. They had the Czech Pilsner that we're going to try, and a lot of British style beers. The dry hop red. They have a beer called the Angel and the Sword that's kind of famous. You can see that's you can probably find
We've seen that
around. Yeah, we've had it too. We've drank it by the cans. So
here's one we're trying today. It's their Czech Style Dark Lager. It's got a cool lion shield on the side of there, and there's their logo, Civil Life. So it's got the little. Does the mascot have a name?
I don't know.
The little bowler top guy with a little curly mustache.
All I know is I have one of those stickers on my bike helmet that says "Be Civil."
Yep. So here we go. Let's see what it looks like.
Yes. Now, do you remember what you had to eat?
I had a loaded bratwurst.
Bangers and mash, right?
No, I didn't get bangers
you didn't get that. You got the loaded.
You can get extra toppings on it.
You can't get bangers and mash though.
I almost got that.
Rap got the smash burger. I got a fig grilled cheese, and it was just perfect. It was a nice mix of sweet and savory. So
not knowing a lot about Czech styles, when I said dark lager, I assumed it was going to be darker than this. This is more like an amber in my eyes.
Yeah, me too.
But smells good.
Oh,
there we go.
So good. Yeah, very good carbonation.
Yeah, it's very European.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't quite.
Very grainy.
When you think German, I mean, this is Czech, obviously not German, but when you think German beers and stuff in that part of the world, there's that little bit of a, for lack of a better term, skunky quality to it. This has got that just like a tiny bit, just enough to let you know you're drinking something European.
Yeah.
But it's actually it's kind of a little bit sweet. But then it's kind of malty after the fact too. So yeah, it's got a lot going on.
So the brewing team of Dylan, Mike, Dustin, and Dave, it says that they like I said, put out to maybe up to 40 beers a year. It says many of their recipes date back to the year they opened.
Oh, okay.
They change their published along with the seasons. So they like their heavier, more full-bodied beers when it's cold, and crisper and lighter. When it gets warm in St. Louis. Let's see. It says here their Rye Pale Ale won gold at the Great American Beer Fest in 2014, and their American Brown, the one that we love, it's long recognized as St. Louis's best brown beer, and I will agree with that. It was recognized in 2019 as one of the top 19 beers in America by Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine.
It's very, very good.
So, if you go to their website, you can see all kinds of all the different kinds of beers.
You love this website.
I do.
You've been going on about
it's great.
how awesome this website is. So I need to go check it out myself too. So yeah.
But it has
what I'm looking at here is all their beers, but they've also got the picture of their label.
It's a full history of the different types of beers that they have done. Yeah. They've done a honey wheat called Civil BEE. Mm-hmm. Belgian Table. I'd love to know what that is. Yeah. Burton on Holtz. Oh, they've done a Carlbach. They've done a mild British ale. I love a good British bitter. And so, I mean, what better place to go than a place that I think is probably the most genuine English type pub that you'll find.
You've been to, yeah.
Right, well, in St. Louis. I mean, I've never been to an actual English pub.
We've been to lots of Irish ones and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, but I love that it's kind of a mishmash of lots of it. Mostly it's just about, again, it's a vibe. It's about things that the people who made this space love, and they bring them together because they want to attract other people to come and feel those things and enjoy each other's company while they're having a wonderful beer. And I will say, just go there for the cask beers alone. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go there, you got to order one of those.
And you can go there and stay outside the entire time. It's just like, you'll see pictures of the building. We've already had them up. But it's cool outside.
Yeah.
But you want to go in.
Yeah.
Order from an inside where you walk up to the old actual style bar and order. That's a little more like...
Yeah, because you just said you can order outside too, right?
It's possible to go there and never be inside. Yeah. And all you see on the outside is, it's not a modern building, but it's not what it's inside.
Right.
Inside is so cool.
You got to go inside and look around. I mean, I want to go back there and drink inside just to experience what that's like.
It was such a nice day when we went to Mose. We said, we'll sit outside, but...
Yeah,
if we go back, we will.
It's great for families. So we saw people with small children there. Mm-hmm.
Dogs were allowed outside. At least I'm not sure about inside, but definitely outside.
I don't think they're allowed inside, but definitely outside. So, saw a dog fight.
2 dogs walked by, and one did not like the other walking by. It wasn't much of a fight, but they definitely got snippy with each other.
No, it was our show though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again, great experience. Kicking myself for taking so long to get over there. I think I got spoiled because, again, like I said, and I'm not going to let this happen again, but it's so easy. I mean, Civil Life is like a real go-to. Like, we're going over to someone's house, sit by a bonfire, swing by the local Schnucks and grab a 6-pack of the brown, and it's just like, that's your evening right there, you know? It's perfect.
Yep.
So we've been enjoying their beers for years, but now I feel like the scales have fallen from my eyes, so...
That's a place we'll have to try to visit more often. That's exactly right.
Yeah, in honor of you, Dinobot, this kind of place that you would love to have a drink with your Autobot, your Maximal
When you go
pals.
to Civil Life, tell people about it. Tell it true, the good and the bad. The rest will be silence.
No. So I have to give a shout out to my coworker Nate, because this is one of his favorite places, and he's been encouraging us to try this one out too. So
we've had no good reason to not go to this place.
Yeah.
We just have been doing other things. So
So
awesome. Well, as we get ready to kind of finish this video up here, you may notice that Noelle and I are wearing shirts. We don't have merch. Sorry, but we made our own merch. We got these thanks to Ninja Transfers. You might see lots of commercials of that on YouTube right now. It sucked me in. It was easy to do. You send in your logo and then you iron it on. And it looks really, really cool. It looks really professional. So we'll be wearing these as we go out now. So this will be kind of advertising us for the channel here. So, and that line, if there's any kind of transformer we haven't talked about, drop us a line. We'll try to put it into the rotation. Thanks for to my children saying, "Why haven't you done Dinobot yet?" It's like, okay, we'll do Dinobot. Drop us a line if there's any transformer we haven't done you'd like us to see.
And if there's any spirit or brewery you'd like for us to try, put that down there too. I just want to say before we go, we didn't share the details about this beer.
Oh, the Czech.
It is brewed in the tradition of Czech royalty, Dave.
Ooh.
It's a dark lager that boasts a rich history and a smooth roasted flavor. I would say that is a very fair description of that beer. Be civil, drink civil. That's almost like play responsibly and drink responsibly.
Which I'm about to say in just a couple of minutes.
Dave, what were you about to say?
Well, I was going to say, if you like the looks of our shirts and, maybe we can work something out. But again, we don't have official merch yet, but, let us know. Maybe we can make that happen.
Maybe if you're the first person to recommend a brewery or a spirit down below that we haven't tried yet.
We can send you a ninja transfer.
Oh, ninja transfer. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So as we wind down episode 62, first off, cheers to Civil Life.
Yes. And thanks for taking me there on Mother's Day. It was a wonderful day.
Mother's Day, and happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. If you'd like to know more about Transformers in general, the two places I always recommend, I can't recommend high enough. First and foremost is tfwiki.net, the Transformers Wiki. It's where I get almost all my images for our video here. I also like to go to a place called botchthecrab.com because they've got an archive of all the original G1.
That's funny.
All the G1 art from the boxes and stuff. So if it's talking about a G1 character, I probably got that from there. So this is not G1, so I'm probably not going to use any botch this episode. But if you pay close attention, you'll see Botch the Crab on my watermarks that I put on there. So thanks to those two websites. Also, the Chris McFeely on YouTube here has a series of videos called The Basics On. I can't recommend those high enough. He definitely has one about Dinobot because, again, him basing his legs here. Real quick, they did establish a Transformers Hall of Fame, an official Hall of Fame from Hasbro.
Oh, really?
And he was one of the first ones.
Oh.
He might have been the first one.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll look that up and I'll put it on the screen and see if I find that out. If not, he was within the first 2 or 3 for sure.
That's pretty cool.
So Dinobot is a super, super important character. And if you don't know him, now you know a little bit, go learn more. So, as we wind down episode 62, as we always do here on BeerFormers, we ask you to please play responsibly and please drink responsibly. And thanks for checking us out once again here at BeerFormers.
More than meets their eye.
Woo, cheers.